Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track from an axe named Jer titled Translated Sand Vessels. And if we switch over to here, this is a request that I have been asked to do by Karen Ng, and apologies if I'm mispronouncing the Ng part. It's yeah, I'm hoping I've got that right. I'm a bit late on this when I was supposed to get it done a few days ago, so I'm sorry about that, but it's being done now. So we're going to listen through this track from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. But while I'm here, if you have any fan requests or songs you'd like me to review that you haven't made yourself, so if these are songs you like that you haven't made or released, but you still want me to review, please do go through the Patreon links in the description, okay? You can get the $12 per month tier, and then you can get like monthly custom music reviews. But anyways, let's go. Have I listened to Jer before? I'm not sure. Apparently there's a second part of a trilogy as well, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's incredibly intense, isn't it? That sudden shift. I mean, that's quite a lot to take in, isn't it? I might have to go back to this so I can read it, but I'm gonna like get rid of this for now just so that we can watch the video. Nice that they have the translation though, for sure. Oh, it's a baby. This is a well-directed music video, and my concern when I watch videos like this is that I'm going to be distracted by the video itself, and that's going to affect the way that I review the song. I think if I step away from it and was to close my eyes and listen to it, I still think this is nonetheless a really well-written and well-produced track. I think the piano in the beginning is phenomenal. The vocal performance is on point, great technique there. And the composition and the general instrumental layering and stuff is very satisfying. It's like an immaculate portrait. Oh, some sort of trappish elements. I mean, like, it's a gentle build with the drums. Sorry, like, before when the woman was beating the child, it was a bit too much for me. Like, it's very rare that I watch a music video and I feel that uncomfortable. It's incredible storytelling, but it's also very, very uncomfortable to watch. The parallels. I mean, I think it's wonderfully done with the strings, the amount of emotional tension they bring to it, the variety within the drum grooves as well is fantastic. The hook lines with the melodies of the vocals in the chorus are tender. I don't understand the video. I'm gonna have a look through the lyrics just in the subtitle section and just kind of get a feel for it. So I'm assuming that these are the lyrics here. Children hug their mothers, forgetting history and returning to the noise of the world. I mean, I don't think this is a literal translation. It's giving me the kind of vibes of when I was doing the early J Chow reviews and I'd be going to those websites and I kind of like it live in Google translated twice in a row. You know what I mean? Okay, I think I get it. All right. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named Jer Lao, titled Sand Vessels. Now, what do I think this track is about? I think this track is about someone, clearly the video is trying to show just a really rough situation with like maybe like a single mother and maybe that the kid was Jer Lao. And basically she just was struggling with like alcohol and stuff like that. And she didn't know how to cope with the kid when... like she was happy that he was born, but she didn't know how to raise the kid, and there was abuse that was in the video, and it was rough to watch, and I felt very uncomfortable. And then later on, you could tell that she was getting older, and I think eventually, like, the kid came back, but you could just see the son looking at the mother getting older and realize that the son might lose the mother soon. Now, I think that's my take on the story. I'm gonna preface this review by saying that I don't really think that the song suited the video. I don't think there was a good enough connection with the way that the music was written to how the video was produced. That is not me saying that I think that it's a badly written song. And that is not me saying that it is a badly done video. It's simply that I think that the imagery within the video is so visceral when that part of the song comes up that I cannot connect the dots. I didn't like it. I did not like the part of the song. I did not like the fact that they combined that part of the song with that part of the hitting the child. I didn't like that. It was almost like we were trying to... It was like music you'd find in like a love ballad or something like that, and you've got a child being smacked with something. I just didn't like it. That was what I wanted to preface it with. Subjectively, I'm not happy with that. But outside of that, if I look at the way the audio was done, the music was done, I think Jer's vocals, if I'm not mispronouncing that, are phenomenal. I think it was an incredible vocal performance. We're clearly very comfortable with the ballad format. We articulate ourselves incredibly well. There was lovely bits of ornamentation with vibrato and legato passages there. Some of the harmonies we had were stellar as well. You know, it was all just incredibly well done. I have absolutely no complaints whatsoever about how things are approached with the vocals. Outside of the vocals, the track itself at 5 minutes 30 had that incredible moment with like the way the piano was played there, the softness, the intricacy of it, with that big chord at the start. And then we kind of rumble into the track, then we move forward, that traditional ballad format of like the keys, the drums, and what other instruments did we have at the start? We had like other synth keys and stuff like that. Later on we had strings and other elements there. Like what do we have around this point? So sort of like bass and kind of trappish drum elements, maybe like an 808 or something like that. You know, we had contemporary with more sort of like traditional bits that did kind of bring it into the 21st century and beyond that. I think it was very current and very, you know, like we made smart decisions with the instrumental layers here. I think that vocally Jer sung in a way which makes sense with the story. Don't get me wrong, like the comment I made about the video, what I was seeing not matching what I was hearing, is simply a combination of the audiovisual element. Jer sang in a way which I think, I don't know actually. I don't know if I like the way we sung in regards to how it fit the lyrics. I don't think that the way that we sung matched no, because that's unfair. That's unfair to say that, because that's me trying to tell him how he should feel or how he should communicate. If the way that we wanted to do is we wanted to moderate the experience of the listener and make it sort of more palatable, then we absolutely sung in a way that did so. But I think if we were trying to sing in a way that communicated how there's just not enough tonal nuance or emotional depth to the vocal performance there to really articulate the severity of what's going on visually. I think this is a situation where maybe I shouldn't have watched the music video. And that's no one's fault. It's just for me personally, this is what I talked about, needing to close my eyes and hear it. It's a very different song if you're not watching the video. But I think I'm trying to sort of like structure this conclusion as well. I think it was the vocals were well done and made sense with the philosophical stuff we're talking about. Like there was obvious care. There's obvious care taken with the way that Jer clearly cared about what they were singing about, and that authentically came through in the music. It's just we were trying to be very kind of soft and caring and loving about it. It's tricky, man. I'm trying to sort of like be balanced and stuff like that, whilst also not kind of, because I understand that this is a popular track, and I don't want to sort of shit on what music people enjoy, but I've got to be open about it. Track at 5:35, I think what allowed us to have that length is that we had that, again, as I mentioned, the piano intro at the start, but also the fact that we didn't just have everything at once, we introduced it in bits and stages. We had verses and choruses. There wasn't a clear sort of like dominant, I mean, aside from the keys maybe, but they weren't necessarily a lead replacement. The vocals were the focal point the entire time. We had variations of how we sung, and that characterized and colored the patterns there. We did have changes in the chord progressions, and it was interesting to not have the same concept the entire time. It was refreshing to have that. Things flowed elegantly. There was dynamic range to the performance as well. There was not a note out of place. The instruments within the piece were played incredibly well, and again, as I mentioned earlier, the combination of the analog and digital elements was very satisfying and smooth. If I talk about a few of my favorite instruments, the keys, I think the keys carried more emotional weight and maturity than the vocal performance. I think the complexity of the way they were structured implied what they did, the depth of the gravity of the track and the consequences of its themes far more intently, almost foreshadowed them in regards to the vocals. We're clearly very competent on the keys, and there was a wonderful variety of different notes and chords performed with a nice, there was a sophistication with how we explored both hands there and elevated ourselves amongst the rest of the elements in the arrangement, just without overtaking the vocals, of course. And breaks where there was the keys in between vocal bits, we did allow ourselves a bit of time to sort of like take the spotlight, but it was never over egging the pudding. And I think in addition to this, the keys, there were the synth bits as well that were nicely added onto the existing triads within the chord progression. The bass line that we had occupied the root notes incredibly well and was a nice thick thing in the frequency spectrum. I think that the drums, when they came in a bit later on, were nice and succinct and were, like they weren't overwhelming or overbearing. They sidechain nicely into the bass there, and there's a bit of like click with the cymbals, but outside of that, it simply was more of a, hey, we have a groove here and we're trying to increase the overall kind of like the size of it. So we got that here, and it, again, it was a more sort of like contemporary element, so it modernized the overall sort of idea a little bit. The strings, when they came in later on, with the whole tones and legato feel there, kind of smooth things out and add a little bit sort of like dramatic saturation to it. And overall, I just think we had a fundamental understanding of music theory and composition, which was encompassed well by the way we stacked things within instrumental layers of the composition and arrangement. And I think, again, if you just remove the video and you listen to the track by itself, it stands well because of that. Is it a style of music that I have not, it's such a redundant thing, really, because I want to say I've heard music like this before, but I've listened to a lot of music that sounds like a lot of other music before within certain genres. It's more like I want to find something in here that makes it distinct from other songs within the genre, from other ballads, from other artists. And I suppose the thing that makes it distinct is Jer, and Jer's voice sounds great. I suppose if you're familiar with Jer's work and you like how he sounds, I want to give a shout out, to be fair, to Jer for talking about this and showing how the visceral nature of it. I think at the same time as I'm not totally happy about the decision with keeping the audio like this and the placement of scenes within it, I think it's nonetheless very brave of Jer to put forward their experience that they potentially had as a child. I would be disappointed if this wasn't an experience that they had, because of the fact that otherwise it just seems completely over the top. Maybe it's just because I don't like watching children get hit, but I wouldn't understand the context otherwise. Maybe this is like outside, but I think that was Jer in the video, so I'm assuming it's a direct interaction Nav had. I suppose the only thing I could have asked for was a greater sense of uniqueness in regards to the rest of the composition. They're clearly commercial grade. They've clearly got the skill and polish to do something incredible, and I hope that for future releases, Jer not only, makes the most of their vocal capacity, but also maybe collaborates with other musicians or finds another lead element to go alongside or coalesce that really just kind of builds them up further and goes beyond the traditional ballad. The theme is inoffensive. It's a good theme. It's musically sound. I don't think it suits the tone of the video. I don't think it's like fence sitting. And that's not me saying that it is a bad theme. I just think that it was written in a way where it was kind of like created to make you feel something in a way where it's kind of like made in a lab and it's designed to make you feel something. And if that sounds like I'm overly harsh, maybe it is. I think it was, the theme kind of sounded a little bit like, I don't know what was unique about the theme, apart from the fact that Jer was singing over top of it. If I was to say, is this a single trying to reflect in a way that is sensitive to like the audience, the experience that Jer had as a child with the mother, and then the regret of the mother dying later on and not being able to say sorry or whatever, I think that if it's meant to sort of be like a toned down kind of muted version of that, then that makes sense completely for a theme. And I think that the complexity harmonically and melodically, with a variety of different elements and different little sort of like bits of spice and zest, because again, it sounds like I'm being like really like I'm trying to bring it down a notch. I'm not. It's just, it should be noted there are little bits of spark and sub-layers there that kind of made it sparkle and shine. I mean, like outside of that, the recording studio production was commercial grade. I think that it was a tremendous effort. Jer's vocals were precise and pristine. The piano solo at the start there was tremendous with phenomenal and dynamic range. There was nice and wide in stereo field, nicely balanced in the frequency spectrum. Things were meticulously leveled. and it was nice now without pumping. The studio side was perfect. Again, just to iterate, the only real problems I have were the two. And this is only because Jer, they're a major label musician, I can tell from the way it sounds and the way it's performed and sung. So I have high expectations. The only two things I weren't happy about with this is one, again, just to iterate, I wasn't happy with how the video matched the audio in that part. And two, I just wasn't super stoked. I wanted a greater sense of uniqueness, something else aside from Jer that makes this music stand out and is more easily identifiable to him as a person. Because again, as someone who cannot understand the language natively, if I wasn't watching the video, I wouldn't be able to know that this was an experience Jer was having. I might not know it was Jer. So I need something else instrumentally that makes it him. But aside of that, this is my review of this track from Jer titled Sand Vessels, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show them some love via the various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as you help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.